Hey, this is M with another random episode. I am out here on a walk. I just wanted to bring you along with me. I remembered to bring the right tool so you don't have to be so close to my face. And I feel like this is a much better way to capture it. So I told you I'd remember, and somehow I magically did. I was supposed to be going for a walk and bringing you on a walk, but the park I was going to go to was closed due to unfortunate circumstances. So yeah, I just decided I was gonna come here, just stand out here for a little bit and just talk with you, just whatever random thoughts come to mind. Right now I'm on it's a slight hill that I'm standing on, and I'm telling you, I just watched The Sound of Music, which I hadn't seen in a long time. I forgot how good that movie was. But so my point in saying that is, now that I'm up here on this hill, I'm not afraid to be cheesy. I'm a very I have to be able to be cheesy. Like for Zumba, I have to be able to go, even to get my class a little enthusiastic and everything like that. I always have to have a little bit of that cheese. I can't be afraid to act a fool sometimes. It tends to make everybody smile and all that good stuff. But anyway, I'm on a hill right now, so I'm just tempted to like do that scene in the beginning of the movie. Those songs have been in my head like all day, all week. I saw it like a week ago, but it's still, those songs are still in my head. I love musicals, just as a side note. Like I absolutely love them. To me, like I always want things to be musical. I think that's probably why I like teaching Zumba and stuff like that, because like it's all like choreography and song, and we're all like together and knowing the same dance. To me, it's like one of those happy things in life. I don't like all musicals by any means. There's some that are, I think, atrocious. But I love so many others. Phantom of the Opera, Hello Dolly, Hairspray, and the list goes on. There's, oh my gosh, there's so many that I love, but I don't even know how I got on that subject. But anyway, thank you for joining me. So yeah, we'll just do some walking and talking. If I had to guess, I think I have like maybe 5 minutes left in feeling my fingers. So one of the big things I'm trying to do is get back used to talking to a camera. I think for me that is something, it's for some people, I think it comes super naturally too. Not supernatural, but it's very natural for them to hold a camera and talk to the cameras. But for someone like me who has very intentionally avoided social media, it's kind of hard. But something I did find, something I try to remember, is how helpful I found it to have a camera to talk to when I traveled solo. So about 2 years ago, I took a solo trip overseas, and for me, my camera was such a great tool. It helped me feel comfortable. I felt, it's weird, I didn't feel alone when I had the camera. For some reason, like sometimes when I'm recording, like I really do feel like I'm talking to someone, and because I know it's going to be eventually, like, you know, a person on the other end being able to view this. For me, it's fantastic to first of all be able to like kind of reflect on some of the feeling that I have. And in travel, there's so much waiting involved. Like so many times, like if you see videos and movies, like you see the person saying like, goodbye everybody, I'll see you later, and then like they arrive at their flight takes off, and then they arrive. Like, no, you get in that airport, you've said goodbye to people, you get in the airport, you're waiting a couple hours sometimes, depending. For me, I actually don't show up that early. I usually show up kind of late. But you're waiting there, and then you're waiting to get on the flight, you're waiting for the plane to take off, you wait to, you know, and it's just, there's a lot of waiting. And I'm not saying it in a way like that's a negative thing. I think there's a lot of time to reflect, and I think especially when traveling solo, even more so, you have that complete, it's a different kind of silence. And I I found it helpful to be able to reflect on here. I shared some video footage of that trip, but for me, I chose not to post everything. I just had some very private thoughts that I didn't expect to have, but they were helpful for me, like just for personal growth, for mental growth. It was very helpful for me to have shared those thoughts and recorded those thoughts. And that's something I do miss that. I do miss kind of being in a country where I don't know what the heck anybody around me is saying. Even if I've practiced as hard as I could to remember the language and all that stuff, even when I tried as hard as I could and I forget everything, I get nervous, or you know, my tourist phrases obviously aren't going to cut it for very long. So even for that, I do miss the confusion and trying to figure out what these different things are. Although I feel the same way in New York City. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever been to New York City, but for me, like, I remember one of the first times I had to take their subway system and trying to understand that maze. So sometimes going to New York City feels like another country, but it's been a long time since I've even been there. And been to Sweet Magnolia Bakery. That's my favorite bakery. If you've seen some of my earlier videos, you might know I love cake, and Magnolia Bakery is like one of my most favorite cake places that exists. Oh my gosh, I love it. Like yellow cake with chocolate frosting. It's not just like any other kind of cake. It's got a certain kind of fluffiness to it. When I start to travel again, I really do want to start to document like the food side of things, because first of all, the food means a lot to me. I find it very inspiring for when I cook, because I love to cook. So I do intend to, have some food involved in there as well, and then kind of show you how it ends up inspiring me in everyday life. I know that was very true for me when I went to Italy. Like all the dishes that I made after that point for like, my gosh, like a month were Italian pretty much. So, I mean, Italian food is amazing. And now I have an indoor herb garden where I'm growing my own basil. Right now I have it was like I got it as a gift. It was it comes with like different seasonings. So like you got parsley and thyme, and it has two different kinds of basil. One is a Thai basil. I don't remember what the other one was, but the Thai basil plant has gone mad, and I'll try to remember to post something about that. I think it's almost time for me to go, but I just wanted to come outside and just be outside. I did injure myself a little bit, so I knew I wasn't going to be walking very much, and I guess at this point I just kind of was pacing. Because I don't know, it's like I said, getting used to talking to the camera in this way again. But I want to thank you so much for tuning in and joining me, like random talks, random thoughts, and everything like that. That's really what this is right now. Again, not what I had visualized at this point, but I think with COVID and travel not being an option right now, you got to work with what you got, and that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm not a very optimistic person, and so for me, I really have to exercise. I have to mentally exercise my mind to think more positively, to find a good spin on how I can make the most out of what's happened. And sometimes that's not easy. I think there's always going to be that adjustment period, that time where, okay, let me just take a second to breathe. Let me take a second to think about what's going on and how I can make this work, or really just take a second and react. And I think I say this so much, but I always like to give myself permission to react. However I feel is how I feel, and to pretend that it doesn't work. Like even over the past week, like there's been, or week and a half, it's been craziness in the United States, and like allowing myself to process that and talk about it with people and think about it for myself. Like I have to face that. I can't to just try and like ignore that. Like that's not how my brain works. Because even if I want to pretend that I haven't thought about this, and maybe you can relate, even if I want to pretend like this isn't bothering me, or that we'll just move on, or it's not a big deal, like no, it is. And and in the back of my mind, it will be processing that, and I'll start to feel really tense and crazy, and and it will be reflected in how I interact with other people. And I think in the rare interactions that we do have, especially right now in the midst of a pandemic, I want to have a positive interaction. I think people need it. I think we have some really essential people out here right now who are doing work that we absolutely need, and yet it's so dangerous, and they don't need people to be difficult with them or have attitude. They need positive vibes and gratitude in whatever way we can give it. And so for me, like, I really try to like mentally know that. And again, as an overthinker, this is definitely something I try to remember. Like, okay, no matter how I'm feeling, no matter how frustrated I am, no matter how shocked I am by what's going on, I want to make sure to try to keep my interactions positive. And like, especially for me, because I have what I would call an angry disposition sometimes. Like, just sometimes, like, my resting face can seem kind of like upset, even though I'm not. And so I always have to go like a little bit of I have to like be a little bit more smiley in order for people to understand, like, I'm not upset, I'm not angry, I don't have bad attitude or anything like that. I just this is just how my face is. Oh gosh, it has been a bit cold out here. You can see like the ground is dusted with snow. I slipped on my way over here. It happens. I'd like to consider myself, because I'm a northerner, usually I'm pretty good at walking on ice, but I still am clumsy. So like, it's like I'm fighting against myself here. But anyway, so yeah, so it's kind of for the best, I guess, that I wasn't able to go to the park. I already injured myself earlier today at the gym a little bit. I was being so extra. Even though I only worked out for like 15 minutes, I have this exercise I have to do for my leg, and or not even for my leg, for my knee, and I didn't stick the landing quite nicely. So yes, what I injured myself a while ago on my knee. Well, I've injured myself many times on my knee, and so I'm a big fan of figure skating. And so I have an exercise I like to do. It's something that figure skaters do to help stabilize their knees, because they get thrown around or throw themselves around all over ice. So they have to have pretty stable legs. And so there was one exercise I've seen them do that I really like and think is very helpful. So I did it, but the problem is, if you don't execute the move slowly and carefully, it's very easy to screw something up. So that's what that is. Anyway, I want to thank you so much for joining me. I will be back next week with another very random episode like I do here. And the next time I'll actually be walking, but the place I usually walk, like I said, was not available for me, and I couldn't go very far to find another place to walk. So yeah, for now, I'll just leave it at that. And I hope that you're staying safe out there and warm, hopefully, wherever you are. I'm losing feeling in my fingers. So I'm going to head out, and we will talk very soon. Bye for now. I think it is time for some hot tea now. I love tea anyway, like every kind of tea. Right now I'm really into a tea that Trader Joe's has called Moroccan Mint. It's like a green tea, but it doesn't taste like a green tea. I don't know if you've ever had green tea, it can be very sharp taste. This one is it's more minty than anything, and I really like it. So that's what I'll have. Try and get some feeling back in my face and in my fingers. So we'll talk again soon.